To start out, I'm going to introduce Alan George. Alan is with Life Church, and the Life Church has been a great partner, and you'll see a slide there of the partners that have helped to put this webinar on. So many of them have generously contributed. They are part of the Indigenous Network, and Life Church is a partner as well, and we love partnering with them. They have been so generous. Alan has been at the forefront of figuring out what it looks like to do church online. And that means more than just making a church event, a live stream available. It's pastoring a community online. And so I really encourage you to perk up your ears and get ready to hear some great wisdom and insight from Alan. Before he gets started, we're going to watch a short video that they created for their online community. Take a look.
Hey pastors.
Hey pastors.
Hey pastors.
We know you're tired.
Hey pastors.
Hey pastors.
Hey pastors.
We know you're
working
tired.
long,
You've been
hard
working
hours.
really
Staying
hard.
up till
You've been
all
working
hours of the
long,
night,
hard
having
time away from your
staying
family.
up till
You've
all
been
hours of the
trying new
night,
things,
having time
trying
away
new
from your family.
technologies. You've been trying new things, trying new technologies,
figuring out exactly
and you've been
what this
doing it on
new
a tight
normal is.
deadline.
We
And
get
figuring
it.
out
It's been
exactly what
hard,
this new
but we want you
normal
to
is.
know. We get it. It's been hard.
We're proud
but
of
we want you to know.
We are proud of you,
proud
and you're
of you.
doing a great,
Proud of you doing
We
a
are
great
proud
job.
of you, and you're doing
God
a
is
great
moving
movie.
at Church Online.
What's crazy is
God
over the
is
past 9
moving at
days.
Church
We have
Online.
seen
What's
over
crazy is over the past 9 days.
We have seen over
on the Church Online platform.
43,000
And all the work that you
salvations
did
on the
Church
church
to
Online
that
platform.
impact.
And
Here's
all
what I
the
want
work
you to
that
know.
you did
What you're
led
doing
To that
matters.
impact. And God's
Here's what I want you to
strength
know. What you're doing matters.
in our
And
God's
We're in
strength
this together. We love you.
in our weakness.
God
We are
loves you.
in this together.
And God loves
we love
every
you.
single person you're
And God
working
loves
so
you.
hard to reach.
And God loves
every single person you're working so hard to reach.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. Like she said, my name is Alan George. I'm the Church Online pastor at Life Church. And what's interesting is, Church Online pastor, that term was not that common a few years ago, but right now, everyone's a Church Online pastor. So we are in exciting times. I wish it was under different circumstances, but it's an honor for me to be here with you. My name is Alan. I'm with Life Church. And if you are not familiar with our church, we're based out of Edmond, Oklahoma. Our senior pastor is Pastor Craig Rochelle. And about 14 years ago, we as a church, while we have physical locations, we wanted to do anything short of sin to reach people who don't know Christ. And we realized to reach people that no one's reaching, we got to do things that no one's doing. So 14 years ago, a couple of ideas that came out was one, the YouVersion Bible app. We realized, hey, what if we take the Bible and put it in everyone's phones? Because that's what people were getting all their information from. And so the YouVersion Bible app happened. But we also thought, when we launch campuses or physical locations, it takes time for buildings and getting people together and finding the right property. If it's online, we could do it that quick. And so that's when this concept of Church Online was created for us. And so the idea was not just streaming content, because many churches were doing that. It's not just watching a video, but it's truly attending a service. So while there is video content with the worship service and the main message from our pastors, we also had this area where we could talk to people and create community. So fast forward to 14 years, today, we're on whatever platform you can think of. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. If you are an online gamer, we're also on Twitch. But we wanted to find platforms where you could talk in church. But while there are benefits to all of those platforms, we created an in-house platform called the Church Online platform. As you saw in the video earlier, that video was from our open team. So it's not just the technology, but all the resources that we create at Life Church, we give it away completely for free, because we as a church, we want to be irrationally generous. And the Church Online platform is completely free. So as you can see in the image, there is a place where you can stream your video content, but there's a public chat area as well where you can talk to each other. This is one of those places where it's okay for you to talk in church. the beauty of that is it's not only talking in public chat in English, but we've used Google Translate so that you can translate that chat automatically. So say there's someone from Germany attending your service, they can type in German and it will get translated to you in English. It's not perfect, but it's really helpful when you want to talk to people. If you notice in the top right corner, there's a live prayer button. It's a blue button. If you click that button, anybody from our service, if they need prayer, say they're in the middle of a worship song or they're hearing a message and they feel God stirring their heart, they can click that button and someone from your team can respond in a one-on-one conversation with them. So we built this platform. It's built by a church. It's for the church. These are some of the benefits or the features that you don't find in Facebook and YouTube and Zoom or other platforms, but it's also another option for you to leverage any tool we have for the sake of the gospel. And as we know, we don't want to end the connection with people there. We want to continue into community. And so in the service, for us, every service, we give people invitations to either join a small group or give their life to Christ. And because it's technology, you can create little forms and you can find ways that people can enter their information so that you can connect with them personally to let them know what their next steps are. With regards to community, when we talk about groups, we have in-person groups and we have online groups as well. And so this picture that you're seeing, this is from Asia. This is a group of people that met at Church Online in one of our services, and they realized that a few of them lived near each other. And so they thought, why don't we meet up? And so this is one of our in-person groups, but we also have online groups where people can leverage Facebook groups, WhatsApp, the YouVersion friends with plans with friends option. And so find ways to connect with people online together. So we've, in a nutshell, if you are a church or a pastor or church leader that's looking for a way to put your service online, I would highly recommend the Church Online platform. We've got some resources for you in this next slide that will help you get started. If you have questions from a technology side, we've got those for you. But I also want to make myself available. I have my Instagram account on these slides. It's Alan V. George. With everything that's happening, my email's kind of slammed right now, but the quickest way to get to me is Instagram. So I'll be happy to answer any questions. I'll end with this. Just from this past Saturday, we've seen over 1,700 people give their life to Christ during one of our services. And for us, our services are not just Saturday and Sunday, but we have them every day of the week so that people from different time zones, different parts of the world can come and be a part of the church service. So I pray for every one of you as you're stepping into this new season, that God would give you the wisdom and the discernment to do what you need to do so that you can continue to reach people. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Alan. As I wanted to remind you that all the resources that are being shared today are free of charge. They're just out of the generosity of Life Church and their heart to see the mission advanced and to make these things available. They're making them available to us amazingly free of charge. And that's true with all the resources that are shared today. There's no cost to you at all. Next, I want to introduce my friend Ann Cockrum. Ann works on a tool called God Tools, and she has an amazing training created within that app to train somebody to share the gospel online. So it's not only an evangelistic tool, it can be a discipleship tool as well. Ann, take it away.
Greetings from Florida. So glad to be here with you tonight. Like Cheryl said, God Tools is an app designed to help someone share their faith. It's got 10 tools on it, and 6 of those are different ways to share the gospel message, and it's currently available in 84 languages. But as she said, tonight we're looking at training someone at a distance to share their faith, possibly at a distance. And the tool that I want to start with is called Teach Me to Share. You can see it on that last screen, Simon, that it's the black tool that you see there with the 2 coffee cups. And now you can go to the next slide. This is the first page of that tool that's also available in a web format at knowgod.com. So this is the web view of Teach Me to Share on knowgod.com. You'll notice in the top left, there's a drop-down menu for the language. This tool is available in 15 languages. And then on the right, there's a share icon. So you can use this, the share icons on every screen in the app as well, to send a link, and you can talk through it with someone on the phone or whatever way you want to communicate with them. Let's go to on this next screen. You'll see that whether it's the first time or the 20th time, we know that sharing your faith can bring feelings of uncertainty and anxiety. How do I begin? How will they respond? Will I say the right thing? I think we can all relate to this feeling. And it really is our prayer and hope that as people work through this tool, they will gain some confidence in getting started in having these important conversations. You'll see on the right side that those are some of the topics that are covered in this tool. When we were designing it and the app in general, we were thinking of someone that we named Bahati. She is a Christian who wants to share her faith, but she doesn't know how. And so we knew that in order to help her, we were going to have to help her know what to say to transition to those kinds of conversations. So that's what we'll look at next. I've highlighted one of the sample conversation starters that you might use for a family member. And Sarah is in this scenario, Sarah is wanting to share with her brother Paul. And let's just imagine in these days that she's texting with Paul, just in a normal conversation, but it's on her heart to try to get into a spiritual conversation. She could use this transition. Hey, Paul, I know, she could text this to him. Hey, Paul, I know that God's really important in my life, but I don't actually know what you think about him. I'd love to know a little more. Would you be willing to share with me? Now, we can't control what Paul's going to say or when he's going to say it, but Sarah has what she needs to, if he does respond and says, yeah, she could pick up the phone and call him right then. They could set up a FaceTime or a Google Hangout, or maybe they could sit apart at the park in these days, but she could listen to him and learn where he's coming from. And then when it's her time, she could say, thank you so much for sharing. I have this great app that shares really clearly about what I believe. May I share it with you? I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. So whatever tool it is, whether it's the God Tools app or what your favorite tool, you could just adapt it for your situation. But is there anyone you can think of that would benefit from that kind of, you could practice that kind of conversation with them and help them think of someone to reach out to? Now, just as you could train them to get into spiritual conversations, you can use this platform to share how to share a gospel conversation. And these are all the tools that are available in the app and online. You can see Teach Me to Share down there at the bottom. And then I'm going to look at Knowing God Personally. You may be familiar with that tool. On the left is the app view. On the right is the web view. As you can see again in the top right, both have share icons. So you could have any multiple combination of someone on their phone, someone on their website, and you could train someone how to walk through this tool. As you know, in order to get good at something, we have to practice. So modeling this by practicing it with someone over the phone would be really a good idea. And then help them think of somebody to share it with and see how it goes. And then on the next screen, I just wanted to bring to your attention that any of these tools that I've talked about can be embedded on your personal website or your organization's website. If you want a gospel presentation, you can embed any of them, and you can get a code for that by going to godtoolsapp.com. This is an example of the boiling waters ministry, which is in the Philippines. They've chosen to put the 4 on their website. So it's just a simple way to make the gospel message available to the people who are coming to your site online. Again, that's just by going to godtoolsapp.com. None of these ideas are super technical. Just give it a try. So I hope you can think of somebody that you could train or share with online.
Thank you so much, Anne. I think there is so much rich content and help that we find in the God Tools app. I encourage you to download it and explore, take a look. Anne just touched on that training feature, but there's so much more, and it's available in so many different languages. So I've had the opportunity to help make who Jesus is and how you can know him clear to people that I didn't even have the same language. I didn't share the same language with them, but that app makes it possible for us to do that. It's incredible. Next, we're going to hear from my friend Dory, who is in Canada, and she's going to talk about the Mentor Center and what it looks like to connect people to Jesus in their time of need. Dory, share with us about the Mentor Center.
Thanks, Cheryl. I'd be happy to. Yes, with the Mentor Center, this gives us the opportunity to journey online with people and walk with them so that they can know Jesus. With the Mentor Center, the Mentor Ministry, our scope is 119 countries around the world, and we have mentors that are from 41 countries around the world as well. It is in 12 languages with another 8 being translated. So it does give you an opportunity right from your own living room to be able to be a missionary around the world. And so this is an exciting opportunity that you could be involved in. We partner with various churches and organizations. We have 68 churches and organizations that we partner with. And if you look at one of the slides coming up here, so the next one is one of the websites we draw interest from is called Issues I Face. We basically, what we are able to do is advertise through Facebook, Google Ads, and we are able to platform different websites like this. And someone is able to come to that website, read a story, read an article, and then say, yes, you know, I'd actually like to talk to an online mentor. And so through that routes us through the system with the Mentor Ministry, and they are paired with a mentor who is in the closest geographic proximity, and also that has indicated some interest that the mentee has expressed. And so this is the opening page for the Mentor Ministry. Basically from here, if you were interested in mentoring, you could literally sign up today. You could click sign up, and through that you'd be walked through an application and then an online training. The online training takes, if you did it all in one sitting, about 2 hours to do. And then you'd be able to start to journey with individuals online. And so this is basically what we think of when we journey with people. On the next slide shows a bit of a flow of people's experience as they come into the system. We basically have people from all different walks of life, faith backgrounds, as well as spaces in their spiritual journey that enter in. And so some people enter in completely unaware. Other people are curious about faith, and then others are actually a follower of Jesus, sometimes struggling, having questions, and then others are actually a guide or multiplying their faith. So our desire is to walk with that person from that issue or struggle, help them walk through that, introduce them to Jesus, help them come to know him, and help them multiply their faith. And so that is a joy as an online mentor that you have the opportunity to experience. And so in that, I wanted just to give you an example of what this might look like. This is a message I got from a website, crew.org, just 2 days ago. And this is what the person wrote in. They said, "Hi, I feel like I failed God to do what he called me to do. And I wasted the fire that he put inside of me. I don't go to church or serve him as I should, and I feel like I'm stuck. I also struggle with unforgiveness. My father and I don't really have a good relationship. I once saw him kiss another woman, and he later accused my mother of cheating. He's an alcoholic, and I know I shouldn't be having these feelings towards him. but it's hard. I prayed about it. I don't know. So this is just one example of a message that comes in. The beauty of online ministry and online mentorship is that people come in usually very transparent, very open, because they feel safe to talk to someone that is anonymous and is able to journey with them. And so as I responded to this individual, I talked about why they feel stuck in their faith. I started to ask them about their journey. I had an opportunity to talk about forgiveness, and you just start walking with them, and you're able to see them start to come to a space of deepening realization of faith, deeper forgiveness, and newness in their journey. And so in this is one example of many. And one of the things that is also a delight as we walk with people is being able to, as they come to a point of decision, to be able to have an opportunity to refer them to a local church as well, because our desire is to see them be able to move from this online relationship and get plugged in to community, get plugged into a local church as well. And so that is a snapshot of the mentor ministry. And for more information and to sign up as an online mentor, you can go to tmm.io.
Thank you so much, Dory. That was really moving. It was really touching. And just the stories of authentic relationships that people are having through these mentor relationships, through the mentor ministry, is incredible. I just want to encourage each one of you. That is a simple step that each of you can take. There are 362 people on this webinar right now. And what if you all signed up to be a mentor? Imagine the number of people that would have somebody to connect to in an authentic way to learn about Jesus, to learn how to know him, to learn how to experience his love and forgiveness. I want to encourage you to prayerfully consider signing up today. I think you wouldn't regret it at all. Next, we're going to take an online poll. So if you're on the Zoom call, if you're not watching through one of our other platforms, but you're participating through Zoom, you're going to see a survey, a poll pop up on your screen right now. And the question is, what has your current ministry experience been like digitally? So you can answer that you often use digital strategies, so you're pretty familiar. You're not that experienced, but you're enjoying learning with us here today. It's new and you're feeling a little overwhelmed, or it's not really your thing and you're not really loving it. I think the thing that we can be encouraged about is wherever you are on this spectrum, you're not alone. And none of us have all the answers, even people who have been doing it for years, who have a lot of experience. Digital's constantly changing, so we're all learning together. Continue to fill that poll in if you haven't gotten a chance to yet. And if you're on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to put where you are in the comments below. You can let us know how you feel about digital ministry. We'd love to hear. Okay, we're going to give it just a couple of more seconds, and then we're going to let you see the results of the poll. Okay, let's see. Who do we have here? Well, look, there are a lot of learners here in our group today. I'm so encouraged that you're here to learn together with the rest of us. That's amazing. Hopefully you will have a next step or two as you listen to the rest of our panelists and take notes, so that when we give you some action steps to take at the end, you'll be ready to do something. Okay, so next we're going to hear from Christine Robertson, and she's going to talk about just a resource to help answer people's questions about their life and God. It's called Every Person. So Christine, why don't you begin sharing with us now?
Hi, everyone. I just want to say it's so humbling to be able to be a part of this. Despite the circumstances, it is such an honor to just serve alongside each and every one of you. So with that said, I'll quickly and briefly share this with you. Everyperson.com, it's a safe place for people to explore questions about life and God. Everyperson.com and everystudent.com are two sites with the same content. And the goal is to reach the spiritually curious. The reason we do that is because we want to reach them with content that would be relevant to life's questions that they have about seeking God and if God's real. And right now at this time, how many people are wondering, does God really exist? Why would he let that happen? So in my brief share with you on this website, just wanted you guys to know this is what we focus on. Who is God and what it would be like to know him. And through our articles, here are just a brief view that you can see on our website. We're able to speak to our audience in a way that gives them a safe place to ask their questions about who God is, if he's real, how the Bible is relevant still, is it just a fairy tale? And our hope and prayer is that it leads to a spiritual conversation and that would lead to a choice to receive Christ in their life. With the COVID and anxiety article that just went out a couple weeks ago, we received such a response from that through direct messages on social media and through our website. And just last weekend, we experienced 2 or 3 individuals confessing to us and asking, oh my gosh, is it too late? How do I follow Jesus? How do I find God? Is this real? If it is, tell me if it's the end. I can't tell you that, but it can direct you to a place and give you a safe place to discuss that with us. And so with that, the reason for this site is not to glorify every student or every person, but to really allow us to glorify God and what he's done through this ministry, and to be able to reach those who are spiritually curious. We have so many advocates that walk alongside us, and we're so grateful and blessed to be working with them. So with that said, I want you guys to just take away a few things that you guys can utilize as your next step as we continue on this journey, this time of uncertainty, to be a hope and light and shine the light of Christ to those around us. One would be to explore everyperson.com. Just look around and see if there's something there that kind of just urges your heart to reach out to some people. Which leads me to step 2, or option 2, is who are 5 people that God's put on your heart? What articles that you can see from our website or from our social pages that you see relate to people in your life that you've been struggling to talk to about who God is and what he does, or if he's real, to start a safe conversation. And then number 3, take action. There are some easy ways to share. It doesn't have to be every person or everystudent.com. We're here to be united as one body in Christ. And now more than ever, when people are doubting, there are people that are seeking. So check out our social media platforms and the website. Our handles are here on the screen, and we'll send them out at the end of the webinar. I'm praying for all of us as we continue to push forward at this time into the unknown, but to know that this is an opportunity that God's blessed us with to work alongside each other. Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much, Christine. Next, we're going to hear from Dave Adamson, and he's the social media pastor at North Point Ministries. He's going to talk to us about using Instagram to teach the Bible. And he's been doing that for the past several years, and he teaches the Bible to more than 50,000 people on Instagram right now. He couldn't be with us tonight, but he left us this video. Take a look.
Hey everyone, my name is Dave and I am a pastor on staff at North Point in Atlanta, where I get to help people connect with us digitally through YouTube and social media. And you know, whenever I tell people that I'm a social media pastor and that I use platforms like YouTube and Instagram to teach the Bible, I always get weird looks. And I mean, I get it. Whenever we think of somebody teaching the Bible, we typically picture a church service or maybe a seminary class or a small group, because that's the way we've been teaching the Bible for generations. And last year, I learned just how deep that idea runs when I wrote a blog post that was picked up by Fox News. They gave the post the heading, "Church as we know it is over." And then they posted it to the front page of foxnews.com right next to an article about Alyssa Milano. The post got about 5,800 comments, 5,790 of which were against the idea of using technology to teach the Bible. You see, most people who commented assumed that I was going against the idea outlined in Hebrews 10:25, and let us not neglect our meeting together. Now, Obviously, I'm not against churches meeting together, but if the current coronavirus pandemic has taught us anything, it's that teaching the Bible in person is just one of the tools at our disposal. And to me, using social media platforms like Instagram to teach the Bible is not a Hebrews 10 issue, it's more of a Mark 16 issue. Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. Social media platforms like YouTube and Instagram are part of that world that we're called to go into. And this is especially important considering we live in a time and place when more people than ever are turning their back on the church. In fact, recent studies show that even people who attend church have stopped attending church. We used to attend church every week, then every other week. And now, according to a Gallup research poll conducted about 18 months ago, only 22% of Christians attend church weekly. And it's not those pesky 20-somethings who are the problem. Pew Research shows that the highest age group of Christians not attending church weekly are aged 30 to 49. But while weekly church attendance is down, the number of people who use technology to access our church content is higher than ever. More than ever, people are watching a live stream of their church from home or on vacation, watching services on demand via websites or apps, listening to messages via podcast on their commute to work, or watching on YouTube days, weeks, or even years later. In this way, church attendance is not decreasing, it's decentralizing. Whether our churches planned for it or not, more people than ever are accessing biblical content digitally, not just physically. Personally, I've been teaching the Bible on Instagram for the past 4 years, and now more than 50,000 people read my daily Bible devotions on this platform. And the reason I use Instagram is that it's become a communication tool for an entire generation. I mean, Instagram has become the place where we share stories about our lives and where Christians can share stories about their faith. During a recent trip to the Holy Land with my youngest daughter, she asked me if she could get baptized in the Jordan River. Now, as much as I wanted to experience that with her, I was also torn because her mom and her 2 older sisters weren't with us on that trip. But thanks to technology, I was able to stream her baptism live on Instagram stories to the rest of her family. Check this out. Some of you might not know that I brought my 15-year-old daughter with me. And the biggest thing that she wanted to do this whole trip was to be baptized right here. Do you want to say anything?
No.
Okay.
I'm getting baptized today because I want to show everyone that no matter who you are, that God will be by your side no matter what you're facing. I had to face a lot in my life because I am diagnosed with dyslexia, which is a reading disorder. And my dad doesn't say this a lot because he doesn't like to show off names, but how he all started was because he wanted to teach me about God through photos, and I'm just so grateful to have him as my dad, and I love him very much, and I'm so glad to be on this trip with him, and I'm just so grateful to be here, and that's why I wanted to get baptized.
So Jordan is my youngest daughter, and Jordan in Hebrew means descended from the Lord. Her middle name is Grace, which in Hebrew is Chesed, which means an undeserved gift of mercy. And I gotta tell you guys, she is my undeserved gift of mercy. She has changed and completed our family. And Jordy, because of your profession of faith, it is my pleasure and honor as your dad to baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So Geordie's mum and her 2 sisters were able to experience her baptism, her story of faith, live on Instagram. And because it's become such a valuable communication tool, I want to spend the next couple of minutes giving you 3 tips that I've learned on how you can help people engage with the Bible via Instagram. And the first tip is this: context is everything. In the same way that you wouldn't stand up in church to give the message and then simply read a Bible verse and then close in prayer, you shouldn't just post a Bible verse graphic to Instagram without providing context. So whenever you post a Bible verse to Instagram, make sure you explain the story or the context that it comes from, who wrote it, and to what audience. By doing this, you help people engage with the story of the Bible and not just a verse of the Bible. My second tip is to understand that teaching the Bible is a conversation. I've had the opportunity to travel to the Holy Land on a number of occasions, and whenever I'm at the Western Wall, I'm always fascinated by watching rabbis interact with their disciples. The rabbis will be passing on an important Bible story or an important Bible passage, but they don't do it through lectures or in a classroom. They do it through conversation. I've learned a lot from watching those interactions, and so I've developed a formula for teaching the Bible on Instagram or really any social media platform. It's a simple formula that goes like this: question marks are greater than periods. At the end of every Bible devotion I post to Instagram, I always ask a question to invite my audience into a conversation, and then I intentionally engage with them in the comment section. I've even recently started including my cell phone number so that people can continue the conversation via text outside of Instagram. In fact, if you've got any questions about faith or the Bible, I want to invite you to text me as well. You can text me on 201-267-2156. That number again is 201-267-2156. And finally, tip number 3, whenever you use Instagram to teach the Bible, make sure you provide a practical application to the verse or passage. I see a lot of people post a single Bible verse to Instagram and then think that they've done enough. But if we want people to engage with the scriptures, then we have to encourage them to not just read God's word, but to respond and act according to what they read. Now, I want to be honest, using these 3 tips to teach the Bible on Instagram takes a lot of time and requires a lot of consistency. But what really keeps me motivated is this old Jewish proverb that says, "Plant trees whose shade you will never sit under." And I believe that by leveraging these 3 tips, you can use Instagram and really any social media platform to help people engage and connect with the Bible, and in the process, plant more trees.
I just want to encourage you to do that. Those were really practical examples of things that you can do on Instagram by giving context to verses, giving next steps, engaging in conversations. Those are things that are really accessible and easy for each one of us to do. Okay, next, I want to introduce you to Patrick. And he is a missional team leader that does campus ministry, college ministry. And he's going to talk about how to facilitate online communities. It's more than just having the technology of Zoom or Google Hangouts. In order to have the platform to connect people, there's more to it than that. And so Patrick's going to share a little bit about his experience and his wisdom from that.
Hey there, my name is Patrick Martin. I'm a team leader with Crew in the upstate of South Carolina. Over the past few weeks, each of us began to realize that we were being forced to adjust how we cultivated small group communities. Small groups, Bible studies, house churches, Sunday school classes, whatever they've been called over the history of the church, have all represented a key principle. People often encounter Jesus and grow as a follower of Christ best in the context of a household of faith, a family unit-sized community. But if we can't go from house to house right now, how will we continue to cultivate households of spiritual nourishment and care? First, I want to share 3 perspectives that might be obvious to some of you and might adjust the thinking and vision of others. Our reality and opportunities. Here's the first principle. Outside of robust life-on-life community, those we care about most will most likely wither spiritually. However, people are feeling the importance of community more than ever before. It's like the old adage goes, you don't know how much you need something or love something until it's gone, right? And here's the third principle. More than just people seeing the importance of community, those who don't know Jesus are more open than ever to supportive communities of faith. And when this virus passes, or at least the current outbreak passes, what will they think of Christians? How will they remember Christian communities? Will we be those that opened up our doors, virtually at least, to welcome them in? I wanted to share this picture with you. It represents what we're doing in the upstate of South Carolina in the space of virtual communities. Just last Tuesday, we had students from 4 different colleges and 4 different online small groups, totaling over 40 students in online virtual small groups. So like I said before, people are hungry for community. They want to be together. In fact, this past Wednesday at one of our community colleges, we had a 12 o'clock virtual small group, and a young woman named Jordan popped in for the first time. She had never been connected to our ministry before, but she came simply because she saw it on Instagram and decided to come. And then she showed up again on Thursday night to be a part of the large group worship meeting, again, all online. So maybe I've convinced you. Maybe you've said, okay, I get it. I want to make the switch. You've got the Google Hangout or you got the Zoom account. Well, what do you do next? Well, I'm going to share just a few principles that I hope will help you. Here's the big idea. This is going to require adjustment from you, no doubt about it. But the encouragement is this: it's not as hard as you might think. Here's the first principle. Treat your call like your house. It's your job to help make your guests comfortable. So for instance, you're always at your house ready to welcome people in, right? You're showing up, you're there before the small group starts. You're there at the door welcoming folks in, telling them how glad you are to meet them. You're showing them around the house. You're letting them know where the restroom is. You're letting them know where they could maybe step out to make a phone call or take care of a pressing need, things like that. Well, same way with a Google Hangout or a Zoom call or another platform, it's your job to show up early, to welcome people who are maybe new to this platform, unfamiliar with it, and help them feel at home. So you might show them how to mute their call, how to get their video set up. You might even help them learn how to download the platform beforehand. Here's the next principle. It's going to be unavoidable. It is awkward until it's not. Own that. In fact, some of the studies we're seeing out of Barna and others that are studying Generation Z and even millennials reveal that some of the biggest obstacles folks have to faith right now is when it feels showy or produced or slick. So here's an opportunity to not hide from the awkwardness and maybe sometimes even the goofiness of being on a conference call. Own it. And here's the thing. Pretty soon people are going to get adjusted to it. You're going to set norms. You're going to figure it out, and they're going to figure out and feel more comfortable. And then you won't have to apologize every time for the awkwardness. Just like before online small groups, people need both focused and unfocused time. It's going to be tempting to just sort of go through your content and then say bye to everybody. See you next week. You need to build in buffer. People need time just to catch up, to hang out with each other, to share highs and lows for the week. One of the things that we do with our online communities is we just let people hang on at the end of the call however long they want. We leave it open. And last night, even saw a number of students hang on for close to 30 minutes, just talking about life, talking about things that maybe didn't feel like they fit in the sort of official time, but man, it was important for them to connect with one another. Here's the last principle. How will you create touch points between meetings? Just like in real life, if you just see someone once a week, it's not a real relationship. And so what might you do to facilitate connections? Maybe you can create a buddy system for your small group or your online community where you pair people up to check in on each other, to do FaceTime calls, to encourage one another and pray for one another throughout the week. Maybe you plan online socials where you do board games or watch a fun show together. Here's the big idea. How will you create a touch point between one week's community and the next week's? So I want to ask you this: what's your next step? Are you already leading a group? Well, evaluate how you're doing with this great article, 9 Tips on Leading a Virtual Small Group. Maybe get someone else who's in the group with you, someone who's going to be kind but give you honest feedback, and just do an audit on how it's been going so far when you compare it to these 9 tips. Are you not leading a group yet? Well, here's my challenge and invitation. Gather some people in your network and just start one. Get together. If you need a little bit more preparation, check out almost everything you need to know about leading a small group for more training and some really great free small group content. And of course, if you need anything, if you get stuck on the way, or if you just want to process things, you're welcome to contact me at patrickmartin@cru.org. Thanks so much for your time. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for what you're doing to help the gospel spread along this new network that we find ourselves living in right now. Thanks so much.
And thank you, Patrick, for sharing your wisdom and your experience. That's very doable and very practical. So thanks so much. Next, we're going to hear from my friend, Amy Lewis. Now, Amy's an American, but she's not coming to us from America. She's coming to us from Central Asia. And she's going to talk about how you can do a digital mission trip. Many of you may find yourself having to cancel plans to take mission trips over the summer, but it doesn't mean that you can't continue with that same heart and that same desire and even the same effectiveness. Amy, why don't you share with us what you've seen and what you've learned?
Great. So happy to get to speak with all of you today. Yes, as Cheryl said, my name's Amy. I've been on staff with Cru for 10 years, and 7 of those I've been in Central Asia. I'm very passionate, as I imagine many of you are, about seeing the Great Commission fulfilled in this generation. And I know that many of you maybe are on this call because you want to learn how to reach people online. And I think that you're in the right place at the right time, because as we know, as Christ's disciples, we go where the people are. And these days, the people are online. And I have really good news for digital beginners. Maybe pre-quarantine, you had a desire to reach out to your communities with the love of God and the truth of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And you recognized the need that the world had for that. Well, nothing's changed. That same heart will be effective online as it was offline. The needs are the same online as they are offline. And the knowledge and the skills that you used offline are going to help you to reach your communities and maybe even strangers online. So don't worry, you're fully equipped. And I just wanted to challenge you to consider leading a digital mission trip from your home. And what might that look like? It would look like gathering maybe a group of 5 friends or so on Zoom or Skype, Hangout, pray together, pray for divine opportunities, make a list of people you want to reach out to and pray through that list, have fun together, get to know each other, train together, share your resources, and of course, share the gospel online. Do discipleship online and share the vision of helping to fulfill the Great Commission online. And then just watch God work. And just so you know, I'm a couple slides ahead of you now, I think. Sorry. And I just wanted to share with you some simple ways that you could reach out to your friends online and have conversation starters. And so you could use graphics that might have a question or a Bible verse that could start a conversation. You might want to use the Jesus Film app and use some short films. You might even want to get creative and create your own little online game. If you look the second on the second picture with the 9 different pictures, that's a game that we created in Central Asia to engage students online. And most importantly, if someone asks about your hope as a believer, always be ready to explain it. As Anne already shared with us, the God Tools app is an excellent resource where you can simply and clearly share your faith online. And some of you might be thinking, okay, I am definitely going to reach out to my friends and family, but what about others that maybe I don't know yet? I think that's a great question. And I really hope that we will all use this opportunity to reach beyond our borders. 41.6% of our world is unreached. They don't have a community where they live that can reach out to them with evangelism because less than 5% of their population are professing Christians. But we can reach out to them online, and and many of them speak English. And so if you look at the next slide, you can see how you can connect with people through Facebook. Just as an example, you could reach out to students, for example, in Istanbul University. And all you do is you go to your Facebook search box and you type people who attend Istanbul University and like Hillsong United, for example, and then see who shows up. And I encourage you to take these faith steps, see if anyone is already seeking the truth, and reach out to them, message them. These were Jesus's instructions. The harvest is great, but the digital missionaries are few. So pray to the Lord who is in charge of the harvest. Ask him to send more workers into his fields. I believe that you are the answer to many prayers. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm praying for you as well. God has a wonderful plan for this season and for the world that he loves.
Thank you so much, Amy. I know from stories Amy has told me that they have just seen the Lord do amazing things, and they've seen people become digital missionaries who never dreamed that that's what they would do. And I'm sure that some of you are in that situation now. You never thought of yourself as a digital missionary, and here you are. You're equipped with some next steps that our panelists have shared today. You've got resources that you are going to have access to. And you've got the Holy Spirit who lives inside of you and empowers you. And he is the one that brings about the fruit. So I hope that you're encouraged. I think as we think about digital missions and doing ministry from a distance, it's not just a matter, as we talked about before, of making your event or your church service accessible digitally. Even the ways that we do church, it may not make sense for your church or your pastor to stand in front of an empty auditorium to deliver a sermon anymore. Everybody is now in a living room watching the sermon. And instead of giving access to the few to be able to participate in what the many are doing, the many are sitting in their living rooms. And so maybe that's what it looks like. The pastor sits around with the worship band or a few others and gives the same message, but is talking to a similar context and a similar group. We just need to rethink the forms of how we do the same thing that God has called us to do. And to me, it feels a little bit more like the church back in the early days, the persecuted church. We're not being persecuted right now by a government, but we're experiencing some hardship. And so life just looks differently. And I encourage you to dream with your teams, with one another, about ways that the Lord might be leading us in new ways. To take the next step, we have all the resources, as we said, that were mentioned today. They are available to you, and you can find them by going to our website. It's you'll find right there a QR code if you want to use the QR code, or if you want to go to ndgt.us/next, you will find all those resources there, and we will be adding to them in the future. One of the things on that page, if you will scroll to the bottom, there is a survey. We would love to have your feedback on this webinar. So please take the survey and let us know what you appreciated, what you wished you had heard more about, what you're interested in. We would love to have your feedback to help us be more effective as well. We also want to encourage you to join the Indigenous Facebook group. That's a place where this online community of digital missionaries shares stories and ideas of ways that they are advancing the mission. And sometimes they even collaborate together across distance to solve problems. There are hacks, and we've got upcoming a COVID hack. So if you are talented in technology, if you're a coder, if you're a graphic artist, if you know one, I encourage you to check out the COVID hack that's going to be coming up, and look into how you can be a part of creating some new tools and resources to help advance the mission of Jesus during this time of the coronavirus. If anybody has questions, again, part of the resources that we're making available has contact information, and our panelists have been so generous to offer up their phone numbers, their email addresses, and please feel free to reach out to them. They are all eager to engage with you and help resource you. I want to thank each one of those panelists. They've been generous with their time and with their resources, and I know that I've learned a lot here today, and I hope you have too. We also want to thank our partners again. We have a slide that shows you all the partners who have joined together to make this webinar possible. And I am so encouraged in the body of Christ. There are so many people who are using their skills and their gifts to develop these tools that we can use. I could never develop not one of these tools on my own, but I have used many of them because of the ways that these people have stewarded their talents and their gifts. And I'm so grateful to the Lord that they've done that. It's the body of Christ at work, and we get to benefit from that. Again, just encourage you to, even if you're not a techie, join the Indigenous community and be a part. Just take the next step and be a part of what God wants to do in the lives of people out there through all the tools and the things that you've learned here today. We are praying for you, and we look forward to gathering again and hearing more stories, and who knows, maybe you'll be sharing your stories next time. Thanks so much. Have a great evening. Goodbye.